Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this evening's information session on the TDSB Specialized Programs. I'm Ryan Bird. I'm the TDSB's Executive Officer of Communications and Public Affairs. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Before we get underway, I would like to read our land acknowledgement. Next slide, please. And there we go. Thank you so much. We acknowledge we are hosted on the lands of the Mississaugas of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Wendat. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Specifically, tonight's session designed to support students and families in learning more about the application process for specialized arts programs and to provide tips for preparing a visual arts portfolio or an audition video. Just a few notes off the top. Participants invited to add questions to the Q&A by clicking on that Q&A button at the top of your screen. There are about 10 of us that will be working to respond to as many of your questions as possible related to the application process for the arts. We won't be able to respond to very school-specific questions this evening. Those are best addressed to the schools directly. Some questions will be responded to directly in the Q&A via text, and others may be answered aloud, again, all in hopes of answering as many of your questions as possible. There are hundreds of you and a limited number of staff, so trying very hard to answer as many of those questions. To help keep that Q&A manageable, please post your question a single time after the related portion of the agenda is finished up. This will allow us to answer more questions, and then a copy of the relevant questions and answers, including some of what we're not able to answer tonight, will be added to the Q&A that is currently posted on the Specialized Programs website, along with a recording of this meeting for those that want to go back and listen, or for others that were not able to make it this evening. With that said, let's get right into it. I'd like to introduce Centrally Assigned Principal Reiko Fuentes to begin our presentation. Reiko?
Very much, Ryan. Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Our quick agenda for the this evening's session, we will do some welcomes, some introductions, and Ryan has just covered our meeting norms and our land acknowledgement. We're going to review how to apply to a specialized art program. We'll have some information on uploading demonstrations of knowledge and skills for arts programs, so portfolios or auditions. We'll review quickly the selection and admissions processes and some of the key and important timelines that you'll want to keep track of. We will review some helpful tips on preparing a visual arts portfolio or an audition video. And we will again be answering questions and providing some answers both through the Q&A, as Ryan has mentioned, but also live as time permits during the webinar. And as Ryan has mentioned, any of the questions that we are not able to cover during our time together, we will look to post on the additional resources website and add to the portfolio of Q&As that are already present. Next slide, please. So joining us this evening, we have a team of folks from different areas in the board. So we have folks from the Central Program Admissions Office and the Guidance and Career Development, the Student Wellbeing Office, folks from Communications, various members of Central staff, and specifically focusing on the arts this evening to help support responses to your questions. And we're also joined by the Associate Director of Student Learning and Equitable Outcomes and the Executive Superintendent for Student Achievement and Pathways, both of whom help to oversee specialized programs and are here to also respond to some of your questions. So thank you to the team for being here and making tonight possible. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the purpose of the presentation, as Ryan has mentioned, is to provide you with an overview of the new application process for TDSB specialized arts programs, both at the elementary and at the secondary level. As students and their parents and guardians and caregivers begin to explore program options, it can't be emphasized enough how important it is that students themselves be motivated and interested in attending these schools and programs. As already mentioned, specific questions about individual schools and their programs really should be addressed to the schools themselves. We don't have staff representatives from the various arts programs here this evening, whether you've been to their open houses already or there's still an opportunity to look at their website or to reach out with your specific questions. A few important things to consider. If a student opts to not continue in a specialized program, this is if they gain access and are admitted, but opt to not continue, they will be required to return to their designated school by address. Transportation is the responsibility of the applicant. So again, please, before applying to a school, it's important to visit the school via public transportation. All of our specialized programs do take place in person. If for the application process you do require support, you can contact your current TDSB school for those who attend a TDSB school at this time. Next slide, please. So the gateway to finding all of the information related to specialized programs can be found through the Find Your School link, which is on the TDSB homepage, circled in red there. Next slide. So this will take you to the Find Your School landing page, and here you can do several important things. You can find some links. You can find your designated school by address. So that's the yellow box there with the by home address to see what elementary and secondary schools are connected to your address of residence. And these are schools that you have automatic access to. There is a direct link to the Central Program Admissions Office that oversees both this application and several other application processes. You can dive directly into the specialized programs website from this landing page, and you can also find the link to the out of area admissions website. We're going to go to the specialized programs website on the next slide, where one of the links that you'll find there is for the elementary specialized programs, and there it is highlighted and shown with the red arrow. So we'll start here. So there are 4 elementary specialized art programs. Claude Watson School for the Arts that runs from grade 4 to grade 8. Karen Kane School for the Arts, which runs from grade 6 to grade 8. And these are comprehensive art schools, meaning all of the students that attend the school go through this application process to gain admission. There is no local catchment for these 2 schools. Don Mills Middle School and Charles H. Best Middle School both offer digital arts programs from grade 6 to grade 8. The entry grade, or the first grade listed for each of these schools, this is where the majority of our available seats are. They're taking in a full set of students into the program. There are often seats in the other grades that you can apply for, but again, the seats will be dependent on space being available in those particular grades at each of the particular schools. So again, you could apply at Karen Kane for grade 7 or grade 8, but again, there will be fewer seats available there than at the entry grade of grade 6. Next slide, please. So back to the landing page of specialized programs, and the shortcut address is there in red. There are additional programs for students to consider from across the TDSB, and today we're going to focus on the arts program options. I'm just showing you the homepage for specialized programs. This is where the actual application link will be found. So where that blue circle with the blue square with the circle and the exclamation mark, that's where the actual link to the application will be found. And it will be opening in the morning on Monday, November the 24th, and it will be available for submissions until Friday, December the 12th at noon. So it's important that you know how to navigate to get to this page. There are sub-menu pages, so we've already seen the elementary specialized arts program page, but there's more information about application and admissions. We're going to spend some time talking about the demonstrations of knowledge and skills and the academic achievement side of the application. There's a website that talks a little bit about how we address vacant seats in programs. There's an art-specific page, as well as IB, Leadership in Math, Science, Technology. There is an eligibility benchmark calculator, so applicants can put in their marks to ensure that they meet the benchmark eligibility criteria using that link, and the additional resources page, which we're going to take a look at for 1 second. Next slide, please. So on the additional resources website, we've got many resources that are already here. So I've highlighted that the video recording for this presentation and the slides will be added, but already on here is an application guide, the specialized programs Q&A, an overview of the timeline, and specific instructions on how to turn photos or other documents into PDFs so that you can upload them. Instructions on how to share video files to help ensure that we have access. And then there are a series of videos already there with the overview of specialized programs. So there's lots of information here to help support your decisions and the process that you'll go through for the application. So it's helpful, and it continues to grow and change as we continue through to the application opening on Monday. Next slide, please. So we're going to speak a little bit about applicant eligibility because there are a few eligibility requirements that are associated with the application for specialized programs. As outlined on the slide, applicants must meet the age, residency, citizenship, or eligible immigration status requirements that are in place to attend a TDSB school. Those are outlined in one of our procedures. Or you may be currently registered at a TDSB school, which means you've already met those requirements. So you are eligible in terms of those requirements. In order to submit an application, the parent or caregiver must be actively residing in Ontario at the time of the application. The address that's provided in the application must be the one where the family is currently actively living. Having a property in Ontario or in Toronto where there are tenants currently living, that address cannot be used as your active current address, and the address of a family member cannot be used as well. Applicants who are residing in Toronto but attending a school outside of Toronto will be required to show proof of active residency at the address provided if they are granted a seat in one of the specialized programs as residents of Toronto or prioritized over residents from outside of the City of Toronto. And lastly, applicants who are applying for a secondary program, so who are currently in grade 8 or grade 9, or in some cases grade 10, must meet the report card benchmark in order to be considered an eligible applicant. Next slide, please. So I mentioned the website, the benchmark calculator, and that's to help ensure that you're able to sort of test your own criteria to see that you've met the report card benchmark. So for secondary program eligibility, applicants using the June 2025 report card, so achievement from last year, applicants can have no more than 2 marks below the provincial standard of 70% in the subject areas that are listed here. So looking at language, math, science and technology, geography, history. The average of the 4 strands of French, so the average counts as the 1 mark for French. The average of the 4 strands of the arts counts as the 1 mark for the arts. And the average of the 2 strands for physical and health education counts for that 1 component. So these 8 areas, no more than 2 of the marks can fall below the provincial standard of 70%. And so for students who are currently in grade 8, applying for grade 9 entrance in September, this will be based on your grade 7 report cards. If you're already in grade 9 and applying for grade 10, we'll be looking at last year's report card, so your grade 8 marks. And for the very few programs where there are students in grade 10 applying for grade 11 entry, this will be based on the 8 courses that were taken and completed in your grade 9 year. Next slide, please. So in preparing to apply to a TDSB specialized program, a couple of things to consider. Applicants must select only one type of program for their application. And tonight we're talking about arts as the type of program. So applicants list their primary program school. So this is their first choice, if you will, of where they would like to attend for an arts program in the example on the screen. And this is actually a screen grab from the application itself. The primary choice school here would be the visual arts program at Central Technical School. And where applicable, applicants may opt to include an alternate program choice. And here the alternate that's been listed is Rosedale Heights School for the Arts. And again, the alternate program must be of the same type as the primary. Next slide, please. So it's important to note that if you are including an alternate choice, your alternate choice will only be considered after all the primary applications for that program. So for the scenario that we just showed, Rosedale, your choice or your application for Rosedale will only be considered after all of the primary applications for Rosedale from the City of Toronto have been considered. Now, if an applicant is accepted into their primary choice school, so again, that example was Central Tech, they will not be considered for their alternate choice. And again, that example was Rosedale. But if an applicant is offered a spot in their alternate choice, they will still remain on the wait list for their primary choice. Next slide, please. So in preparing, there are certain things that you will need to have at the ready. Your child's information, so their legal name, date of birth, providing their gender, your primary home address. So again, we've talked a little bit about what that address needs to be. Your current school name, your current grade, and your student number if you are a TDSB student. If you are not certain of what your child's TDSB student number is, you can reach out to your current school and they will provide it to you. It is a 9-digit number that starts with a 3. And this is not to be confused with your OEN, which is your Ontario Education Number. So again, you can reach out to your school to have that student number. And again, being clear on the name of your current school, there are several schools in the TDSB that have very similar names to each other. Going into the application, you'll need to know that primary choice program and your alternate choice if you are including one. And you'll be asked to provide the contact information for the parent, legal guardian, and caregiver. And I should note this is all under a Power School account that each family should either already have if they're a TDSB family because you've done your start of year forms, you've already done a registration form in the past, or another application for either out of area admissions or for central student interest programs in the past. You'll have that existing Power School account. If you've forgotten your password, there is a reset your password function that is available through that. And it is the parent, guardian, caregiver that should be having that account for Power School and working with the child to complete the application. Next slide, please. In addition, if you're applying to a secondary program and your child was not in a TDSB school in June 2025, you will need to upload a PDF of your report card from last year. Again, if your June report card shows both the February and June achievement, you just have one upload that you'll need to do. If your report card is of a different format and doesn't show the earlier achievement from February, you will then have the opportunity to upload both of the documents. We do work with the June achievement, but in some subject areas, in particular some forms of the arts, geography, and history, it's not always assessed in both the reporting periods. So we do need to have the ability to go back to the February achievement for the eligibility benchmark and for some of the academic achievement that's counted in the applicant score. Again, this is a screen grab of the actual application itself. There is an opportunity to check off if there are no report cards from the 2024-25 school year. And instead of uploading the report card, you'll have an opportunity to provide an explanation as to why there isn't a report card. A common scenario would be a student who was homeschooled or is currently being homeschooled. And then for elementary applicants, there is no previous achievement or report cards that are considered as part of the application. And because we're here for the arts today, applicants to arts programs, both elementary and secondary, will need to be prepared to upload the contents of a portfolio or an audition with their application. So at the time of submission, the pieces will need to be ready to be uploaded. And we're going to talk a little bit today about what that looks like. Next slide, please. So there are several different types of arts programs within the TDSB, and for each different type, there are different requirements or different options that you have for your upload for your demonstration of knowledge and skills. And these images are taken directly from the demonstration of knowledge and skills website that was linked on our main specialized program website. And do recognize it's a very busy website. There's a lot of information. So just trying to grab those nuggets that are going to help on these slides here. So we do have 3 general arts programs. So you're just applying to the program itself. It's comprehensive and covers different forms of the arts. In each of these cases, applicants can either upload an audition or they can upload a portfolio. There's a choice. And in submitting an audition, the applicant can then choose which rubric best it outlines or really exemplifies the audition material that has been submitted. And the rubrics are available on the public website as a reference to see sort of the criteria that we're looking for. And the criteria are also clearly outlined as to what is required for your submission. As part of the calculation of the applicant score for these 3 programs, it will be the average of the 4 arts marks. So that would be dance, drama, music, and visual arts, as well as the language mark. That average will count for 30% of the applicant score. The demonstration of knowledge and skills, so either the audition or the portfolio, will make up the other 70%. Next slide, please. We have several visual arts or digital arts programs that are listed on the slide here. For each of these, the marks that will be included as part of the applicant score are the language mark and the visual art mark. In applying to one of these programs, you are required to submit a visual arts portfolio, not an audition. And again, those marks will count for the 30% and the portfolio will count for the other 70% at the secondary level. Next slide, please. We also have 2 performing arts programs. And in this case, we are looking for an audition. And again, there are a variety of different types or forms of auditions that applicants can select from: a dance audition, a drama audition if they're applying to Wexford only, a music audition, or a musical theater audition. And the marks that will be considered as part of the 30% for these 2 programs are the average of, I've lost it. If we can go forward a couple of slides, please. One more, please. Thank you. Drama, music, dance, and language. Those are the 4 marks that will make up the 30%. Next slide, please. And then there are a few programs that have a much more specific area of focus. We have a music program, a dance program, and a drama program, all at Earl Haig Secondary School. Each of those requires the specific audition that matches the type of program, and the marks that will be used as part of the applicant score are the specific marks that connect to the area of focus in those programs. Additionally, Etobicoke School of the Arts has a drama film program. For drama and film, you have the choice of either submitting a drama audition or a visual arts portfolio, where one of the items you can include is a sample of your film creations. And that's one of the options that you have for your upload. Next slide, please. Okay. So again, showing what you can expect within the application. So for a secondary portfolio, you'll have the opportunity to upload up to 6 pieces of your artwork. Up to 1 of them can be a video, which must be saved to a Google Drive and shared so that anyone with the link can view. In the application, you'll be asked, is one of your items a video? If not, you'll just move forward and have up to 6 upload opportunities. If one of your items is a video, you'll be asked to share the link to the video and then have an opportunity to upload up to 5 other pieces of artwork. Next slide, please. The second part of the portfolio, so beyond the art submissions that have come in, which again may include film, the second part of the portfolio is the reflection. And so applicants can either put together a 300-word reflection that is saved as a PDF and uploaded directly into the application, or it can be a video recording, a video or audio recording of up to 90 seconds in length, again, saved to the Google Drive, shared so that anyone with the link can view it. In the application, you will be asked, is your reflection a PDF or is it a video? You choose, and then you'll either upload the PDF or be given a space to put the link to your shared video file. And if you'll recall, when we were back on the additional resources website, again, there is a document that helps to walk you through step by step how to upload a video to your Google Drive, how to share access, how to copy the link so that you have it to put into your application. Next slide, please. And I should mention that was a secondary with the 6 pieces of art. For an elementary portfolio. Again, it is roughly the same, but it's up to 4 pieces of art, and the reflection questions are a little bit more guided, and that criteria can be found on the website. For a secondary audition, you are providing the link to one video up to 2 minutes in length. It could be one single performance, or it could be 2 performances, again, merged together into that single upload file, again, saved and shared. And you see the example here where you've specified that we're going to provide an audition, and then there's a drop-down menu to select the rubric that is connected to your audition submission. In this case, it is dance. And again, the choices would be dance, drama, music, or musical theater. And then there's a link box to paste the link to the shared video. Next slide, please. For the auditions, the performance reflection at the secondary level is a video audio recording only of up to 90 seconds. And again, that is a shared video link pasted into the box as is shown on the screen. Next slide, please. So a couple of important slides here about when you are applying to 2 arts programs and what is required, and really are very mindful of the workload and the expectations on applicants. So if you are applying to 2 arts programs of the same type, so where there is a submission that is common to the 2, only one uploaded audition or portfolio is to be submitted. If you opt to upload a second one or upload the same thing a second time, the second one will not be considered. In fact, the application will stop you from uploading a second time. So for the example on the slide, again, 2 different visual arts programs, so visual arts at Central Tech or the contemporary arts program at Etobicoke School of the Arts, both have the requirement of a portfolio. So only one portfolio submission is to be made. Next slide, please. If you are applying to 2 arts programs where there is a different set of requirements, so here the example are the 2 different programs at Wexford Collegiate School for the Arts. So the primary choice is the visual media arts that requires a portfolio. The alternate choice is the performing arts program that requires an audition. In this scenario, both will need to be uploaded. So you'll be asked for the portfolio requirements for your primary choice and then the audition pieces for your alternate choice. So here both would need to be uploaded to meet the requirements for the 2 programs that have been selected. Next slide, please. Lastly, if your submission for your primary program meets the requirements for your alternate, then only the one submission should be uploaded. So again, here our primary program is the dance program at Earl Haig. The requirement is a dance audition. For this particular applicant, the alternate choice is Rosedale Heights School for the Arts, which is one of the general programs, which could be any form of audition or portfolio. Because the dance audition meets the requirements for Rosedale, only that dance audition should be uploaded. Okay, so again, we want to try to reduce the workload and what people need to have prepared in time for the application. And so we're being mindful of this. So again, that's sort of a brief overview as to what needs to be uploaded when you have more than one program choice. Next slide, please. So again, all of the specific detailed criteria for each of these arts programs, so the submissions, the requirements, the rubrics, can all be found on that Academic Achievement and Demonstration of Knowledge and Skills website that was linked from the original page. So you can go through this in more detail and see the specific criteria for each of the different types of auditions and for the visual arts portfolio in more detail. Next slide, please. So a couple of really important notes for all of our applicant submissions. There is an expectation that the submissions will adhere to all TDSB policies and procedures, which includes P031, which is the human rights policy. Any submissions that contravene TDSB policies and procedures, including our code of conduct, these submissions will be addressed. And if there are issues with what has been included in the application will be deemed incomplete. So please be mindful as you're preparing your submissions that we are not dealing with hate-based language or other things that would contravene either human rights or code of conduct issues. Next slide, please. Arts portfolio and audition written or spoken reflections must be prepared without the use of any generative artificial intelligence. So it is the expectation that all content, both the art, the performances, and the reflections, all reflect the applicant's independent and original work. And I highlight applicant that even for our elementary applicants, it is the student applicant that is responding and is creating the art and the reflective pieces that are included in the submissions. Next slide, please. Okay, so The process of applying to specialized programs, once the application has been started, it can be saved along the way, but please know there is no reminder to come back and complete and submit the application if it's left incomplete. Hopefully you've had the opportunity to attend the open houses. They've been going on for 2 weeks and are wrapping up, I think, tomorrow. And that is helping you make a decision around programs and what is going to best meet your needs moving forward. And please note that once your application is submitted, the application cannot be changed. You don't have access to go in live to make updates or changes. So please take the time to review the application. You can go back from section to section to review it before it's submitted. And the application closes on Friday, December the 12th at noon. And at that point, after that time, you will be unable to submit an application that has already been started. Having said that, this is not a first come, first serve application. All eligible submissions received by the deadline will be considered. Having said that, if you know where you are applying and have your submission materials complete, please don't wait to the last minute to get started. So again, you don't need to have this done on the very first day. You can be done anytime during that window from November the 24th until December the 12th, but please just make sure that you hit the submit button before noon on that Friday. After you submit your application, you will receive an email notification. And so part of the application will be providing the contact information for the parent, guardian, caregiver. Please, it is very important to make sure that the email address that you put into the application is accurate. The email notification, it's called a submission confirmation email, will come and have important instructions about next steps, and it's a really important email to hold on to. So please watch for it. It should come almost instantaneously. If you don't see it, please make sure you check your junk mail, your spam, any of the other places that sometimes email may disappear to. That first submission will actually go to the email that your account was set up in. And you'll want to favorite the email that it comes to. It's a no reply PowerSchool email to make sure that you're receiving the emails in the future, because again, any communication regarding any issues there might be with the application, follow-up questions that we might have, and of course, offers of placement and the results in February will come to that email. So you'll want to, again, make sure that you get that submission confirmation and perhaps set the no reply email as one of your favorites. Next slide, please. So students that are applying for specialized programs will be seated based on their demonstrated knowledge and skills. So for the arts, that's the audition or the portfolio. As we've already mentioned, for secondary programs, the report card achievement data from specific courses from the previous year will also play a factor. And applicants will be seated based on their score. So the highest scores will be seated first. And that applicant score is made up of 30% report card achievement and 70% demonstration of knowledge and skills, the audition or the portfolio. For elementary, only the audition or the portfolio will be considered, and that will make up 100% of the applicant's score. Next slide, please. So as for the selection and admissions process, so again, applicants will be seated based on their applicant score, and this process will occur centrally, and all communication will come from the Central Program Admissions Office through that no reply PowerSchool email address. Please do not contact schools directly for selection results. The results will be coming out at the end of the school day on February the 11th, 2026. So we wait till the school day is finished and the results will be sent out. There'll be a link where you can see whether your child has been offered a seat in a program or whether they are on a wait list. And if they're on a wait list, what their position is on the wait list. Again, it will come from the no reply PowerSchool email, and everybody will receive an email on February the 11th. So that they will have a results link, which remains live. So you can continue to check that results link to see your position on the wait list as it changes. These offers made on February the 11th will expire on Tuesday, February the 17th at 4 p.m. If you have not accepted or declined the offer by that time, the offer will be rescinded. Where there are vacant seats available, we will make the next round of offers on February the 18th, and then finally on the 25th of February. All of these dates and the details can be found on the application and admissions website in the program. Please, if you are offered a seat in a program, you are looking to accept the seat, it's because you have a commitment and are wanting to attend that program. If you accept an offer and change your mind, it's very important that you're notifying us before the 25th of February, because that is the last day that we will be able to offer that seat to another applicant. So please be mindful. This can either be done in writing through your current TDSB school, or it can be sent directly to the Central Programs Office at centralprograms@tdsb.on.ca, and that email will be provided to you in your submission confirmation and other communication that will come to us. So again, just being mindful of those acceptances through that process. Next slide, please. This is the last slide from me. A few things to note for specialized programs: there is no sibling priority. So a sibling already attending the program does not change your eligibility or chances of being seated in the program for a younger sibling. And that is also the case if there are twins that are applying. They are independent applications. Students already attending an elementary specialized arts program are not given priority for secondary programs. There is no priority for local applicants, so living in the catchment area of the school doesn't increase your chances of being selected for a program. And important to note that students that live in the catchment area for a school that offers a specialized program must still apply through this process if they wish to participate in the program. I will add, this is also the case that if you are a grade 9 student attending a school and you're looking to enter into the specialized program, it must be done through this application process as well. Next slide, please. Yes. So we've made it to time for a couple of perhaps live Q&As.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Reiko. And we will go to our Q&A section. Again, if you do have any questions, you can enter it into the Q&A feature. We'll get some time to do that now. And then, of course, we'll get some time at the end to answer as many questions as possible. So without further ado, I will go into some of our questions. Reiko, one person is saying, if my child applies to a specialized program, can they still apply to a school through the out-of-area admissions process?
Great question. Yes, absolutely they can. So the out of area admissions process, which is a way of accessing regular program schools that are able to take in students from outside their own catchment area, that process will happen in January. So you won't know the results yet for specialized programs. So yes, you are eligible to apply through out of area admissions, and the offers for both will come on February the 11th. So you'll know your standing for all of your options on the same day, where if you have more than one choice, you can choose the one that you're going to pursue and decline the other offers that you may receive. So yes, absolutely, you can apply through out of area if you've applied to a specialized program.
Okay, thank you for that. Next up, what is the scoring process when it comes to arts auditions? How does that work?
So we will speak a little bit about, and when my colleague Superintendent Chasey comes on to speak a little bit about the arts, we have teams of qualified teachers, so who have the subject qualifications for the particular area of the arts that the audition is covering. They'll be using a common rubric, so looking for specific criteria to evaluate, and it will be the team of 3. So there'll be 3 different adjudications, if you will, of the audition, and the average of the 3 will make up the 70%. And then the 30% will come from the report card scores to generate the overall applicant score, which will be carried to 2 decimal places.
Okay, thank you. That's
if I could just add in there, Ryan.
Of course, John.
Yeah, each of the arts focus areas consist of teachers primarily from our specialized art schools. So for example, the musical theater team will be teachers who are currently teaching and are qualified to teach musical theater in our secondary schools. Dramatic arts teachers, that team who will be assessing all of those rubrics, are all qualified teaching that subject, and again, primarily from our specialized art schools. And just a note about the rubrics, I think that is really important. While they are up on the website for reference, they were written by teachers for teachers. They're the experts in the field, and so when you look at some of the language, that is definitely the language at that level where they are the experts. The most important thing for applicants is to focus on their skills, talents, creativity, the personal reflection, which we'll get into in a minute, that they don't have to have professional quality, that we're not looking for that. And I'll get into a little bit of detail of what work relating to progress could look like, particularly in the visual arts, because I did notice there were some questions about that.
Okay, thank you for that, John. And there's a couple of other questions also related to art. So I know we're going to touch on it, but thought to get to as many as we can now. How many video clips can you put together in one video for the application? Basically, this person is saying, as long as it doesn't exceed 2 minutes, is there a certain limit, or is it really just the 2 minute is the focus that we're looking at?
So when it comes to an audition, it can be up to 2 different videos edited up to the maximum amount of time in terms of 2 minutes. One video could be 10 seconds, one could be a minute and a half. It could be just one video, one audition video. Applicants would not be penalized in any way in terms of their score, whether they chose to use 1 or 2 videos.
And that when it comes to visual arts portfolio, is that like that,
Mhm.
and that the same applies?
The same applies in that you can have up to the number of pieces. You don't have to have that exact number of pieces. You can have a fewer number of pieces. And again, students would not be penalized in the scoring if they had fewer number of pieces. And I think what's really important to note is that the reason it's not a set number of pieces is because we want to recognize the wide range of particularly secondary visual arts programs across the board. We have a film program in one school. We have sort of your more traditional visual arts in many other schools. We have animation programs and cyber arts programs. And we have, at one of our schools, we have a design program. So it's really focused on progress. So what we wanted to have was an opportunity for students to submit a range of work for their portfolio. If they're submitting a video for visual arts, so be it film or animation or a design program, for visual arts, it would only be one video. And then the rest of the supporting documentation up to the total number of pieces would be supporting information for that video. And I noticed a question earlier, Ryan, about film. So you would apply to visual arts, you would be uploading your film, for example, and then the other supporting pieces could be a storyboard, or could be a script, photograph of a script, or it could be drawings from a sketchbook relating to different scenes or comments relating to that. So we wanted to encompass a wide range of traditional and non-traditional visual arts programs across the entire board. And so hopefully that encompasses those types of pieces.
Thank you for that. And then when it comes to reflection, someone's
Mhm.
asking, they're just unsure about what that's about. Is it about why the student wants to be in the program, or a reflection on their love of their art, or something else? Is there more instructions for high school reflections somewhere? Is there something that we can advise people on?
Yeah, Ryan, we're going to get into that in a minute and
Okay,
actually talk about the exact
that's
questions. But
great.
what I would say is these are what in the case of visual arts, they're going to be students will be selecting one piece from what they submit in their portfolio, and then they'll be asked reflective questions based on that single piece, not all of their pieces. And the personal reflection is not talking about the program itself. It's about responding to questions, strengths, weaknesses, what could you do better, et cetera. We'll talk about that in a minute. When you completed that piece. So it's about the piece, it's about the work. It's not about the wanting to get into a particular school or program.
Okay, perfect. Just a couple of general questions, and then we'll get back into our presentation. Can a student be in the gifted program and a specialized program if they are at the same school? If not, if a student selects a specialized program and leaves it, can they return to the gifted program? Reiko, did you want to take that one?
So there are a couple of schools that do have an overlap where they offer both an intensive support program and special education for students with a gifted exceptionality, and they offer one of our art specialized programs. And we often have students that attract to the school along both of those tracks. And in the scenario where a student is accepted to the specialized program and has an IPRC placement to the gifted program at that school, the school can attempt to accommodate. But when we look at conflicting timetables, course requirements for the two different programs, the special education ISP will have to take precedence. So it cannot be guaranteed that a student can be in both programs. The school will make an attempt. But again, people really do need to be prepared that that may not be possible. If they opt to leave the special education gifted program for the specialized program and wish to return, they would have to go through another placement process, but that can be done.
Okay,
But it's not an
thank you for that.
automatic switch your timetable, go. There is a formalized process if space is available in the gifted program to have a return.
Another question in general, Reiko, if the student is currently a TDSB student, will they need to upload a report card, or will that already be in the system?
That will already be in the system. So one of the questions early in the application is not if they're currently, well, they will ask if you're currently a TDSB student, but were you a TDSB student in June of 2025? Because if you were, then we have your report card data and you will not have to upload any report card. We have the achievement data already, and that's acknowledged in the application by the parent, guardian, caregiver that we will be accessing that data.
One more question before we get back into it. Will all applicants receive their rubric scores and anecdotal feedback?
No, they will not.
Okay, thank you for that. And then someone's asking about the link to submit an application. That will be on the TDSB website, tdsb.on.ca/specialized programs, I believe, starting on Monday when it opens. There will be a link in the notice box at the top of that page for those interested in submitting an application. No, there are more questions to get to, but with that, we will throw it over to Superintendent John Chasty of on special assignment, I should say. John, did you want to kind of take us through some tips, advice when it comes to those portfolios and that kind of thing to provide some more information on that?
Yeah, certainly, Ryan. Thank you. So if we could go to the next slide, please. So I think what we should start with, because there are so many questions being posted in the Q&A about the criteria. We'll go through the criteria and talk about the differences between them, and also a number of questions about the reflection and what's expected of the reflection. All this information is located on the website and under the appropriate links that have already been talked about by Reiko. So for elementary and secondary, applicants are to upload up to 4 images for elementary or 6 images secondary of finished or in-process visual arts work. So elementary up to 4, can be fewer than 4. Secondary up to 6 images or fewer, as I had just mentioned earlier. And it could be finished work or in-process work. So it doesn't have to be completed work. It could be a project that you're working on that could be in process. It could be halfway done. It could be a sketch that's in the process of turning into something else. For example, a painting or a different piece of work. So in process is really important because it could be at a design phase as compared to more of a finish phase, as an example of what you could submit. And again, this represents the broad range of programs that we have across our 15 art schools across the system. Applicants are strongly encouraged to dedicate one of the uploads to sketchbook pages, notes, or images that demonstrate planning and artistic process for a completed or in-progress piece. So what do we mean by that? So in process, you may have a completed sculpture, for example, but before you develop that piece of sculpture, you had rough drawings in your sketchbook about what it was going to look like. So that would be an example of a process piece that supports one of your other pieces. Visual arts could include design concepts, animation, film, or artwork created using any artistic medium, drawing, painting, sculpture, digital art, or digital media, or a combination of both. And it's important to note that some students in the cyber art schools in particular combine both. They can combine painting with a printout that they've done that comes from digital media, for example, from Photoshop, and they combine those two mediums together. One film can also be included, or video, 15 to 120 seconds in length. So the film I had discussed a little bit earlier, we do have a film program in one of our secondary schools, and an applicant may have a film that they want to upload and submit, and then the supporting process information like a storyboard or that type of information. And then, okay, you may say, why video? Well, we have a design school. And that design school, the video that could be uploaded is an example of creating a piece of outdoor design art in nature. So it's more of a design concept versus a film. And in that case, that could be submitted again with supporting information and sketches and other drawings and things that support that project. And the videos can vary between 15 to 120 seconds in length. Next slide, please. For elementary students of up to 4 pieces, what you would do is submit one piece, one of the up to 4 pieces that you submitted, and using a maximum of 200 words or a 1-minute video or a 1-minute audio clip, describe your artwork by answering the following questions. Why did you create this art? How did you create it? What did you do well? What would you do differently next time? And by responding to those questions, you'll be pretty close to 200 words. So that is the focus of the reflection, that one single piece that you select that's important that you want to talk about. Next, please. The secondary visual arts reflection is a little bit different. Again, a single piece, up to 300 words, or a 90-second video or audio recording, describing how the artwork was completed, which could include the methods and materials used, technology, if it was used. So for example, if it was developed using a computer and it was art done on a computer, that would be an example there, but it's not mandatory to have that, of course. Your ideas or thinking behind the art, why you made it, why it's important to you, identifying one challenge you faced creating the artwork and how you overcame that challenge. And again, responding to those questions will very quickly add up to 300 words. Next slide, please. In terms of the performing arts, for elementary, submit a video of 1 to 2 performances. Again, it's a single video that can have 2 different performances edited into that video of whatever length it happens to be, as long as it doesn't go belong 2 minutes or longer than 2 minutes. So it has to be edited into a single video. Must be a solo performance of your choice that best represents your skills or artistic ability. The audition example could come from any performing arts focus in elementary. It includes dance, dramatic arts, music, musical theater, or anything that crosses over amongst those different areas. Next, please. The reflection, again, 200 words. And again, it could be a 1-minute video, a recording, or 200 words for elementary. How did you create the performance? What did you learn? What did you do well? What would you do differently next time? Next slide, please. For the secondary performing arts criteria, it's 1 to 2 videos, same as elementary. If more than 1 video is included, it has to be edited into 1. Again, up to 2 minutes in length, and must be a solo performance, excerpt of your choice that best represents your ability. Next, please. For the reflection, note that there is not an option for a written submission in this case. It's either has to be a video recording or an audio recording for secondary. Maximum of 90 seconds. Why did you choose the performance? How did you prepare? What are you most proud of? Identify one challenge you faced and how you overcame it. Next, please. And just a couple of notes, visual arts applicants will not receive a lower score if they decide to submit fewer than 6 images or 4 images in the cases of elementary in their application. And also note that the assessors, so the teams of teachers, of qualified teachers who are experts in their area, in terms of the visual arts or performance, they could do a reverse search to verify authenticity if they deem that as necessary. Previous arts professional training is not a requirement. We are looking for potential in the arts. Work in progress can be used for portfolios or audition videos. Next, please. In terms of some tips for visual arts, first of all, make sure you're submitting a portfolio that meets the correct criteria and you're answering the correct reflection questions. And it should be a representation of your best art design work that showcases your creativity, your curiosity, your thinking and skill, and should be a visual representation as best you can of who you are. Rubrics are posted online, as I had referred to earlier. They're primarily for teacher use, and they're the experts in the field, and they're the ones who are using that sort of standardized approach based on the Ontario curriculum expectations from kindergarten to grade 8, in particular the expectations for grade 4 to grade 8. Visual Arts Elementary, remember that this is your chance to make an impression. Next, please. In terms of tips, just general tips for a portfolio, generate interest and excitement with that first piece. So you've heard the expression, you get one chance to make a first impression. The first thing we see is usually the thing that we remember the most. So just think about that first piece. You can include work in 2D, 3D design, digital, traditional art types. All forms of art are acceptable. It's not a bad idea to include a drawing or video from direct observations such as still life, interiors, landscapes, that type of thing. Ensure that any photographs of your work are well lit on plain backgrounds. That way you get the most accurate representation of what things look like and the colors, particularly if there's color. And include at least one of your process work, sketchbooks, as a multiple page PDF if you choose, or it could be a single page, or it could be a brief video that shows your process to support the work. Next, please. In terms of the sketchbook and process work, there are a number of questions that have been asked tonight. What does that look like in visual arts? It can be a multi-page PDF file or video, which I just referred to. It could relate to one of your finished pieces of work that you submitted, but it doesn't have to. There's no advantage either way. And sketches are just one type of rough process work. Other things could include research, creative journaling, notes, rough drafts, experiments, doodles, photos, and more. If you're working digitally, you could screenshot your process work to include it. Next, please. Secondary and elementary audition tips. Submit a performance that meets the correct criteria in terms of the specialty area within secondary in particular. It's a good idea to start your video with, hello, my name is, and I'm auditioning for drama, music, musical theater, dance. It's an opportunity to showcase your creativity, curiosity, thinking, and skill, and should be a visual, auditory representation of who you are. It's a chance to make an impression. Record in any location that has good, decent lighting, and avoid backlighting. And you can use a mobile device. The cameras these days on mobile phones and mobile devices are fantastic. Avoid using the selfie front camera in terms of making sure it's not on reverse, and use the rear camera. And the reason for the backlighting, if you have a bright light behind you, and you might have noticed if you ever took a photograph of someone in front of sun coming in from the window and they're standing in front of the window, what happens is the camera lens will pick up the light behind, but the image in front is obscured and you can't see it very well. So that's the reason to pay attention to that backlighting. Next, please. Videos are not to be professionally edited. It's not an expectation. The face and body of the applicant must be visible. Other individuals cannot be present in the video picture frame. They can be off camera, and we could hear them, for example, if it was a dialogue between two characters for a dramatic arts video. But from a privacy perspective, there should not be another individual in the picture frame. The performance must be recent, from 2025. And if text lyrics are part of the performance, they should be memorized for secondary only. That's not required for elementary. Performing arts elementary, secondary rubrics are posted online, as has been described earlier, as a reference. Next, please. Dramatic arts audition tips. The video could be a monologue, one person speaking, a dialogue where other speakers are off camera, spoken word, or movement-based physical theater. Your role character should maintain focus and concentration during the performance, and ask yourself, are you projecting what the character wants? Ensure you're well prepared for your performance. Rehearsal that you're familiar with the text. Use gestures or facial expressions to communicate your character. How are you connected to other characters and the audience? And it's important to establish a sense of time and place in the performance. Next, please. Musical theater audition tips. Consider an excerpt from any song that shows strength in both singing and storytelling from the musical theater catalog or any music genre, which could be pop or folk. It's not just limited to the more, I'm going to say, traditional music theater catalog. Remember that in addition to singing a song, you're telling a story. If you use a recorded instrumental track or live accompanist, make sure that your voice is easy to hear above that track. Choose an excerpt from any song that you think best highlights your voice. Understand your character and connect to that text, and consider your facial expressions and how it communicates the text. Next, please. For dance, one thing that you could do is review the elements of dance in the Ontario Arts curriculum, which talks about the different aspects and elements of dance. Research dance styles and steps. Choose steps that highlight your best skills. Practice filming yourself and polish your steps. Utilize your full energy and range of motion, even in limited spaces. Remember to smile. Wear comfortable attire for easy movement. And you can use music or dance in silence. You should not be in one spot the entire time. Show some shifts in weight, changes in direction, and some traveling types of movement. Stay focused, have fun, and allow your love for dance to shine through. And the different tips for the different performing arts have all come from teachers who are currently teaching that at the secondary and elementary level. Thank you. Next. Music audition tips. Choose an excerpt from a song of any style you're passionate about that portrays your performance strengths. An instrumental piece could be a section that features your specific part prominently within a group performance. For example, a guitar part of an ensemble piece, a cello part, or a solo. A vocal or instrumental solo can be unaccompanied or performed with a pre-recorded background track or live off-camera accompaniment. Be sure your interpretation of the music comes through by paying attention to dynamics, phrasing, articulation. Ensure your body and our instrument are fully visible in the video. Next, please. And Ryan, we're back to questions.
Perfect. All right. We will get back to as many questions, and we've got a solid amount of time, so I think we can get through a number of them. Going back to our list, John or Reiko, do you know, is there any resource that shows the number of available seats for each grade of each school joining this programs under specialized programs? Is there a way for people to understand how many seats are available, or is that something that is not typically posted?
We don't have a posting of the specific number of seats in each of the programs. It's going to vary. Again, some of the schools are entire schools. So all of ESA, all of Rosedale, again, are going to have much larger numbers because their entire school population comes through this process. And some of the other programs that have multiple smaller specific programs like Earl Hague, each of those programs, because again, there are 4 different access points or ways to enter into the program at Earl Hague. Each one is then going to have a smaller number of seats. So it does differ. I will say entry grade is obviously where we have the most number of seats, but it's going to range from 25 seats to over 200.
Okay, thank you for that. Will the same panel review all of the specific art specialties? So, for example, will the same panel review all musical theater auditions? This person just saying to avoid some people getting harder or easier markers than others. Like how do we approach that? Also knowing that there are a lot of applicants and it's a lot to go through. How do we do that?
Yeah. So Ryan, it's a great question, and so as Reiko had mentioned earlier, there are 3 different assessors, not necessarily in the same school or same location, who are looking at each application, each arts application. And we have separate teams. So there's a musical theater team, there's a dramatic arts team, there's a visual arts team. In terms of the number of applications, for example, we have 5 times as many visual arts assessors, because visual arts is going to be the dominant program that goes all the way across, and potentially up to 1,000 applications. So it is purely random in terms of the assessors who look at each application. They don't know each other, and they're going to be looking that it's their opportunity to assess that application, go in, and somebody else on another day might go in while the application process is open and doing that. And because it is an essentially moderated marking, there is that balance that can take place when it's not just a single person or even 2 people marking a single. The best evaluation and assessment practices are moderated marking, which means, if possible, more than 2 teachers marking a single item.
Okay, thank you for that.
If I can add to that, Ryan,
Of course.
all of the assessors are also going through training on using the rubrics and how to come up with a common understanding of how a particular sample of art would be assessed using the rubric.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Reiko. Someone just asking if they live in the West End, can they apply to a school for the arts in the East End? I believe so.
Of course.
Okay, just wanted to double check. A question for you. There seems to be a little bit of confusion around the required 70% minimum. Does that prevent a student from proceeding further into the application if their mark in math, science, history, and geography, French average was below 70%? Someone just wanting to know that it's not as clear as they had hoped. My understanding, and I'll defer to you guys, is 2 marks can be under 70%, but the remainder must be 70 or above. But I'll defer to you.
Is correct. So if we're applying to an arts program, but geography and French have really been a struggle, and those marks and the average of the 4 French marks are under 70, but the other remaining marks are over 70, you're fine, and you'll meet the eligibility. But as you've said, if more than 2 of the 8 marks that were on the slide are below 70, that we will be notifying the applicant to let them know that they have not met the benchmark criteria, and that we will not be moving forward to review their audition or their portfolio submission.
And Reiko, we've discussed this before. How does that work when you're in the application form? Is that something that you see automatically when you are submitting your application remarks, or is that something you're then informed of?
It's something that you will be informed of. We will reach out from the Central Program Admissions Office to indicate that the benchmark hasn't been met. And again, doing that hand check to make sure, and we'll reach out.
Okay, thank you for that. Someone currently in middle immersion, when my child decided not to continue art program and go back to homeschool, can he now go back to middle French immersion school, or does it have to be the English homeschool? So is currently in middle immersion. I'll just repeat that because I know there's a bunch of moving parts. Currently in middle immersion, they didn't want to continue the art program and go back to the homeschool. Are you allowed to go back to your French immersion school, or do you have to go to your English homeschool?
So if I understand correctly, if you were in a French program like middle immersion and have opted to leave, I do not think there's a guaranteed return if you have been away from the middle immersion. So I'm not sure I'm understanding the question, but my understanding is if you are now in an arts program and are not, you've do grade 9 in an arts program, it would revert back to your local designated school by address for English programming.
Okay, thank you for that. And then, and in the end, if you want to contact the school, I'm sure they'll be able to answer that question specifically if for some reason we're not understanding that properly.
Yes.
Someone's just saying there's a little bit of confusion around applying to different programs at the same school. So this person's specifically asking for Rosedale, but is it possible, and do we need 2 separate applications for that?
So Rosedale is a general arts program. So you're just applying to enter Rosedale. You're not, so that would be your primary choice. And you could choose to either submit a visual arts portfolio or one of the various audition types. So it is just a single access entry, as opposed to another example that would be Wexford, that has either the visual media arts or the performing arts. that could be your primary and your alternate choice. Wexford's the only school you want to go to, and you like the visual arts and you like the performing arts, you could have those two choices for the same school, but that is not an option at Rosedale. It's just a single entry.
Okay, that's great. Again, if you have any questions, please enter it into the Q&A feature by clicking on the top of your screen. I know that there are a lot of questions coming in. Some are being answered via text, some we are talking about here, but you can enter those questions into the Q&A feature of the Teams software. Next up, and John, I'll come to you for this one, mentioning about the process and process content could be multi-page PDF. Is this true for other artworks, or should they be single pages, single images?
Thanks, Ryan. I think that's really up to the student who's applying. So you could have a piece of artwork. For example, you could have a painting and then submit a multi-page PDF to show the development of that painting with accompanying sketches. And then there could be a second piece that's a watercolor painting that shows only a single page of the drawings that were, for example, done in a sketchbook. And that would only be a single page, and that would constitute 4 pieces of the up to 6 pieces. So that really is up to the applicant, and how they best feel, what they submit best feels represents their work.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. For a school
can I
like,
add to the question?
Yeah, of course, Rico.
Can I add to that question, John? So, John, could someone then submit a photo of 10 pieces of art and do 6 of those? So submitting 60 pieces of art, is that something that you would be looking for?
No. In terms of process, we're talking about, to get back to where we talked about details of process work. So process work relates to sketches or drawings or doodles or things like that. And our recommendation is up to 1 of those 6 pieces could be one of those. However, we also want to recognize that it could be a multi-page PDF in that one upload. So no, it's not 80 pieces of work. It's a single piece of work that has a supporting piece of documentation that shows the process the student used in creating that work.
Great. I've just seen a couple of questions where people are asking about cramming multiple things in each of the uploads.
No.
So thank you.
No. We'll only be looking at up to 6 pieces total.
Thank you. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. Just looking up to our next questions. For a school like Rosedale, where you choose any of the arts once accepted, do they accept an equal number of students, whether it's music, art, musical theater, drama? Is that an equal number when it comes to a school like Rosedale? It varies depending on, and that just varies based on, I guess, the number of people that are applying and how that can work out?
Yes, and it's also really important to note that the model at Rosedale really encourages students to explore multiple forms of the art. So while they may submit a dance video, they are going to be encouraged to take other forms of art during their 4 years at the school.
Okay, thank you for that. Can current grade 9 students already in an arts specialized program apply to another arts program in a different school for grade 10? Basically, can you switch art schools?
You can through the application process, yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Will any marks from the grade 8 year be accounted for during the application process?
So if the applicant is currently in grade 8, applying for grade 9 entry in September 2026, we're looking at their grade 7 report cards, so from June 2025. Students have just received their early interim report cards for grade 8. Those are not considered as part of the application. And I will point out that prior to P100, when schools had their own individual ways of considering applicants and looking at the criteria they were using, that past practice was also grade 7 report cards for grade 9 entry. This is a return to a past practice.
Okay, great. Just looking at our questions, again, if you do have a question, please enter it in the Q&A. We are getting to as many as possible, trying to tick off some of the higher level ones that a number of people are having right now. I have one more in my list at this point. But John or Reiko, if my child attends a non-TDSB school where report cards do not contain percentage or letter grades, like the number system, how is the academic benchmark assessed?
So we would ask that people submit their report card. in whatever shape or form it is. And we will, again, where necessary, reach out to the applicant, reach out to the school. Many schools offer on their websites sort of how to interpret their report cards when they're using an alternative form of a report card. And again, if necessary, the Central Program Admissions Office will reach out for more information.
Okay, thank you for that. John, when it comes to the visual arts portfolio, is it necessary to submit process? This person's saying for their child's, the finished work often covers the process work. How does that work?
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And if it's a painting, for example, there's an underpainting and there's all of those steps that are covered up and you don't see it in the final product. So no, it's not necessary, but it's recommended. So that the assessors can see that the student used a process of some type of the up to 6 pieces that are submitted.
Okay. Reiko, does a student accepted into elementary central programs promise till grade 8? Will they need to reapply for secondary programs again in grade 9? For
Yes, they
grade
will.
9?
Yes, and
Okay.
as was indicated, that there is no prioritization or automatic flow from an elementary program to a secondary program.
So essentially, you're being treated like any other student applying to the program, regardless if you've been in that. Everyone's on kind of an equal footing there.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you for that. We are just got another question here. Are some of the requirements for the art programs almost the same as the STEM program? So I guess the academic piece would be similar, but I guess it's that demonstration of knowledge and skill would be obviously different.
So the benchmark, so to be an eligible applicant, is the same for all 4 different types of programs. But if you are applying for a math, science, and technology program, and I'm going to plug the webinar tomorrow from 7 until 8:30, where we'll be talking more about preparing for the math, science, technology programs, the 30% mark component of the applicant score will be based on the math and the science and technology marks on the report card. And their 70% demonstration of knowledge and skills will be a multiple choice assessment focusing on math and science and logical thinking. And so the criteria for that is also on the demonstration of knowledge and skills website. So the criteria that for placement and for the applicant scores are completely different.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Reiko. When it comes to secondary drama, can you alter a video that has already been taken so they're the only one on stage? John, did you want to speak to that one? Okay, so again, can a video be altered so that that's already been taken so that they are the only one on stage? I guess obviously wanting to highlight the person applying.
Yes, I would say yes, as long as we can't recognize anybody else who's on the screen. We more recommend, and for again privacy and confidentiality reasons of the other individuals in there. So the answer is yes, you can do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. If a child received 3 marks below 70, but summer school was attended to bring up the mark, will this be considered? This person specifically just saying their child went to summer school, but the new mark is not harmonized on the transcript. So how does that work, Reiko? Is that I guess that's a unique situation, but how would we handle that?
So grade 7 students going to summer school do not receive achievement data or marks that would replace prior achievement. If this is a grade 9 student who's now in grade 10, that would be a different scenario. And the students in grade 9 who are in grade 10 applying for grade 11, and they're uploading their report card. If they have a third report card from a final grade for a credit course in grade 9, that could be uploaded as well. But for elementary, summer school marks are not issued.
Okay, and Reiko, does that speak to part of the reason when there is that check when someone submits their report card? That's why it's not automatic, is so that you can see some of those marks in the system. Like, for example, that's a unique situation, but you can see that when you check. That's perfect. Okay, thank you. Next up, in regard to the music application for Rosedale, does the song choice need to be impactful or can be anything meaningful to the child? John, did you want to speak to that one?
Can you say that again, Ryan, please?
Yeah, no worries. In regard to the music application for Rosedale, does the song choice need to be impactful or can it be anything meaningful to the child?
Um, I think it could be anything meaningful to the child.
Mhm.
It is, we do want the applicants and the students to put forward what they feel is something they have a personal connection to. And I think that shows up better in the reflection if it's something that they have more of a personal connection to. And just based on the conversations I've had with teachers in the performing arts, as we were building the rubrics or we were looking at the criteria, I heard that referenced a number of times. But it could also be, for example, an existing piece of music presented in a creative, personal way that's interpreted differently than it has been than it, but anyone else. So I guess the answer is yes to both.
Okay, thank you for that. Couple more questions we do have here, as I know we're coming slowly to the end of our webinar. If you have a different primary, dance, for example, and secondary portfolio, visual arts, should they be included in the same PDF file slash slideshow, or should they be separate? John?
Okay, can you repeat that again,
Yeah,
please?
no
I'm just
worries.
reading a
So
similar question right
if you
now
have
that's
a
worded a bit
different
differently. Yeah,
primary, in this case dance, and a
yeah.
secondary portfolio, in this case visual arts, should they be
Mhm.
included in the same PDF or slideshow, or should they be separate?
Reiko can answer that one
Okay,
because it's two different
I'm happy
programs.
to answer
Yeah,
that.
Take it away,
So
Reiko.
when you've got a primary and an alternate choice, you will then first be asked to address your primary application. So in this case, it's dance. You're going to indicate that you're submitting an audition video. It's going to be dance. You'll provide the link to the dance video, provide the link to your reflection, and then it will show your alternate choice. And if the requirement for your alternate choice is not being met by what you've already put in with your portfolio, you will then be able to select, well, this program requires a portfolio, visual arts portfolio. You'll then get the uploads and all of that for the second. So they're two separate sections of the application. So primary choices will come first. And if you have included an alternate, that will come next.
Okay. John, someone just missed a part because there's a little bit of a dropout there. When it comes, read the process piece, if a child's work covers their process, for example, a painting, how do
yeah.
they submit something for process? Can you just repeat
They
that one briefly?
Yeah, if they don't have something to submit as process, they would not submit anything as process.
Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, but we
Does
do
this,
recommend it, as I referred earlier, we
yes,
do recommend it just so that the assessors can understand your thinking and those skills that led to the development of that finished piece.
okay,
John,
thank you.
could a
Yeah,
student include an unfinished work? So a
Yes,
process, but in a new
absolutely.
piece?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, it could be something that they just started, or they could be
beautiful.
halfway finished. Yes.
okay, thank you for that. Does the style of dance matter when submitting a dance audition?
No,
John and or Reiko? No,
no.
Forms of dance are valued and recognized,
except when it's done by me. I'm
except
just
when
looking
it's
to
done
see
by
if we
you, Ryan
we
Bird.
have any questions left. It looks like we are coming to the end of our questions. With that in mind, Reiko and or John, I think we should just quickly recap as far as what's next. Obviously, tomorrow we have some presentations on, we have two webinars, math, like essentially all the other programs except for arts. And then timeline. Can you just quickly off the top, I know we mentioned this,
Absolutely.
but what time are we, the timelines we're looking at, when can people start applying for this and anything else they should know?
Absolutely. So tomorrow at 5 o'clock, there will be a similar presentation to this highlighting leadership programs. So it'll talk about the different varieties of leadership programs. And one of our centrally assigned principals will be providing some tips on the writing pieces and then how to prepare and what to think about when you are submitting an in-person written submission, which is the demonstration of knowledge and skills for leadership. At 7 p.m. tomorrow, from 7 to roughly 8:30, will be the presentation for Math, Science, and Technology and IB program. So again, we'll cover the application side of things, what you need to have prepared. And then the centrally assigned principal responsible for Math, Science, STEM will talk about multiple choice test taking strategies, share some resources, again, for reviewing grade 7 content, because both IB and the Math Science Technology programs have portions of their entrance assessments that are multiple choice. And then the end of the presentation will focus on the opinion piece written portion that is only for IB. So that will be sort of a tag on at the end after we do some questions before that.
Great.
And then,
Enrico,
more than
Yeah.
one thought. On Monday, the 24th, the application link will be posted online. So again, parents, guardians, and caregivers can log into their Power School account or create one if they don't have one to start the program, the application for specialized programs. It does not need to be completed in a single sitting, but it needs to be submitted complete before noon on Friday, December the 12th. If you are applying to an arts program, once you hit submit, you're done. You've submitted all the things that you need for your programs. If you're applying to one of the other programs, you will have an in-person demonstration of knowledge and skills scheduled in December. You'll get information about that in your submission confirmation. You'll need to complete that in order to have a complete application. And then in February the 11th, offers will be made via email from that no reply Power School. It will not happen until the end of the day. If you have not received that email by midnight on February the 11th, please reach out to your current school on the 12th or reach out to Central Programs so we can look into what's happened. If you're, again, maybe there was an error in your email address, and we'll work to support you because those offers will expire on the 17th of February.
Thank you very much. Keeping all those dates readily available. That's good. You know what? A great resource, the TDSB website, tdsb.on.ca/ well, we have some right there, in fact. And then specialized programs has a lot of information on there. Everything that you have heard here, we will be posting this video along with some of the Q's and A's. We already have a fantastic Q&A section on that website that answers some of those commonly asked questions. Some of them heard tonight, some of them we've heard over recent weeks since announcing the new specialized programs. But the website, again, is a fantastic resource. You can access that by visiting tdsb.on.ca. The link is there, but you can also visit it from our main page. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope we answered as many questions as possible. My sincere thanks to all of the staff that you have seen on screen and those that you have not seen this evening for making tonight possible. Thank you again. Have a great night, and we'll see some of you back here at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Thank you and have a great night.